Hey there, my name is Wren. I am a mindfulness teacher and activist in Des Moines, Iowa, and I am putting together a little video series about mindfulness for activists because we have a long and hard fight ahead of us, and it is very important to take care of ourselves during this time. And for me, at least, mindfulness is a big part of that. I've had a steady mindfulness practice for a few years now, and having that tool under my belt has really helped me through these times to stay grounded and to stay present. So I want to share some of these tips and tools with you so that you can incorporate that into your own self-care. I will say, if you don't already have a mindfulness practice or have tried it or have tried meditating, I am sorry to throw this at you at this time. That is especially scary to think about sitting with your worries in the quiet alone. But now is a more important time than any to have these kind of tools. So I am going to teach you just some very simple, basic practices that you can use over the next couple of videos, and I hope that it helps you. So, why are we doing mindfulness for activists? Like I said, taking care of yourself. You're going to be building resilience, build strength, learn to be gentle with yourself, learn to love yourself a little bit. So, what is mindfulness? It's a pretty catchy term that's thrown around a lot, but really it's pretty simple. Mindfulness is based in Buddhist practices, but is available to everyone. It's basically just a practice of being present in the moment where you are and allowing everything that happens. And that includes your thoughts. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second. So why do we do mindfulness? Neuroscience backs this method as helping anxiety, depression, burnout, focus, even your immune system, lots of other things. The benefits we get from that are strength, stability, clarity of mind, being less reactive to things that are coming at us all of the time. But the most important thing for me and for you, I think, that I want you to understand is mindfulness helps you get to know your thoughts, which is scary, but important. As we are fighting the good fight and we are out and about and we are hearing all of these negative things come at us, whether we believe them or not, they stick in there and they become part of your inner monologue, whether you realize it or not. Even things that you don't believe. Somebody says, I think eating cupcakes is bad and makes you a bad person. And you say to yourself, that's dumb. Cupcakes are good and nobody is bad for eating a cupcake. But later, a week later, you're eating a cupcake. And in your mind, you hear, even sub-perceptually, cupcakes are bad and you might be a bad person for eating them. And you say to yourself, no, that's dumb. But that voice is still there, and so you're constantly arguing this inner voice that's based on all these outside opinions you don't care about anyway. So if you get to know your thoughts, if you spend a little bit of time with them, you can kind of learn which thoughts are yours, are important things that you're thinking about because you need to be thinking about them, or are they some of those thoughts that just pop up automatically because they just are in there, and we don't really need to believe those, we don't need to buy into them, we can just let them go and move on. So this is what we're practicing during mindfulness, is paying attention to those thoughts and then letting them go, good or bad. It's just a thought. We let it go and we return to the present. And as part of this process, you're learning self-care and self-love and gentleness with yourself to understand that like these thoughts are okay and that you can just be kind to yourself. This thought's okay, I'm just going to let it go and move on. And then you practice that over and over again. And then you find in regular life when things pop up that are unnerving or upsetting or whatever, you can remember to be gentle with yourself and say, hey, I can just let that thing go and go about my day. So this is what we're practicing. So that's just like the very small amount of basics about mindfulness, just to get you started. There is lots more to learn about it if you are interested. You can find books, you can find videos and podcasts and lots of information to dig in if you like. But what I'm here to do is just teach you these basic steps. You don't need all the history and all of the deep philosophical thinking. You need these 3 steps that I'm about to teach you, and you can do this and you can make it part of your own toolbox. So, 3 simple steps to mindfulness. So, the basic idea here is we are arriving in the present moment. We're finding something to keep us in the present moment, and we are coming back to it whenever we find our attention drawn away. So the first step is arrive in the present moment. So that can be any place, any time, anywhere. Doesn't have to be the same all the time. We're not doing formal meditation here. We're just trying to practice being present. So do whatever you need to do to kind of arrive in this practice mode. You're just sort of shifting your attention away from whatever's been going on and acknowledging to yourself, I am here to be present. This is what I am doing right now. So sitting in some sort of meditative posture can be helpful. If you're doing that, find a position that's relaxed and supported. Use cushions and things to support your body parts as needed. You can just take a moment and use your senses to notice what's around you and just kind of tune into the present. Noises, sights, smells, whatever is happening. You can just take a few deep breaths and just kind of pay attention to that. Check in with your body overall, see what it's feeling. If you have a favorite chair in your house that you want to sit in every time you practice, that way you're designating like, this is my practice space, whatever works for you. So once you are in that practice mode, you can have your eyes open or closed. You can do whatever you want with your hands, just rest them somewhere. We're kind of looking for focus but not too focused, relaxed but not too relaxed. You want to, be able to relax into the moment, but we're not trying to fall asleep. If you fall asleep, that's okay, but that's not the goal here. So we're here, we're arrived. The next step is to place your attention on an anchor. So the anchor is what is going to pull us back into the present moment when we've been pulled away. Lots of things you can use for an anchor. Very traditional method would be to use your breath. It's a great method to practice because your breath is always with you and you can do it anywhere. You can focus on your breath while you're waiting in the waiting room at the doctor's office or in the grocery line or at a stoplight. Other anchors you can use would include, kind of like I said before, using your senses. You can kind of just tune in and listen to the sounds around you or play some music. You can use a visual focus. You can tune into like a physical sensation. You can also do things like saying a mantra, which is just, a word or two that you repeat over and over again. That can be helpful if you're trying to focus on something specific or set a specific intention. Walking meditation is also a good one. If you're going for a walk, you can use that as your focus. outside of just tuning into the sights and sounds around you, you can focus on the feeling of your feet on the ground, the feeling of your legs moving in space. So there's lots of different things. Experiment, try different things, find what works for you, find what you feel really connected with, and go from there. And the third step, this is the really important one, is returning to your anchor when you are distracted. So it's important to know that the point of this process is not to clear your head. Most people think that they can't do this because they can't stop their thoughts. None of us can stop our thoughts. Thoughts happen. So thoughts are a normal and important part of the process. So what's going to happen is you're going to arrive, you're going to anchor, and you are going to focus on your anchor for however long, a few seconds to a couple minutes, maybe, probably not. And then you're going to notice that you've been thinking for some amount of time. And then you are going to just acknowledge that you're thinking. You can just say to yourself, thinking, or use a visual in your mind, or whatever you need to do to just sort of acknowledge, I am thinking. But do that gently. You're not going to scold yourself for thinking. You are going to just recognize that that's what happened, because it happens, and that's normal, and it's okay. So you're going to acknowledge yourself, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to return to my anchor. And you return your attention to whatever, your breath, sound, whatever. And that's it. And then you're going to repeat step 3 over and over and over again. You're going to return, your mind's going to wander, you're going to acknowledge, return, over and over, for as long as you are being mindful for. And that's really it. It's very simple. It's not easy. It is challenging to sit with your own thoughts. But start small, do a couple minutes, go from there. It's challenging but worth it, I promise you. I would suggest once this video is over to give it a try. You're watching this, so you must have a couple minutes to spare. Just arrive, find an anchor, and return to it. I would suggest try to do that for 5 minutes, 2 minutes if that's all you have to spare. Find little moments in your day where you can just practice that. It does not have to be formally sitting for meditation. It can just be when you're sitting, laying, or standing around and you have a minute. Just be present. It's helpful. So, I will have a couple more videos after this one that are going to go through a couple of other practices that can help you in some different ways. But this one is really the core mindfulness, being present, getting to know your thoughts practice that I highly, highly, highly recommend that you at least try.